The new locomotive I'm building does get around this corner, but not easily because the wheelbase is a little longer than any of the wagons. And there's a junction at one end and another one in the middle of the curve that don't help. And the wheels sometimes get snagged, despite this guide rail, which does help. So anyway, this week I bit the bullet and decided to dismantle it all and rebuild it with a larger radius. Dismantling was easy enough. You take off the inner rail, and then pushing and pulling the outer rail till it looks better. And then drilling lots of new holes in the inner rail so it could all go back together in a new shape. Now I did leave out the junction in the middle of the curve. I need to find a better place for that, but I joined the new curve up to the existing junction at the top. So it should have been nice and straightforward. I even made a helpful nodule to help the wheel flanges negotiate the junction. I don't know whether that kind of thing is allowed really in railways, but if it is, then surely it has a name. A little sticky out bit to protect the end of the blade because there's not enough thickness in the rail to make a notch or an indent. The main curve was much better because it's bigger radius, but the junction was now at a worse angle than before. Well, it was perfect if you only want to turn left, but it's very clunky if you want to go right, which isn't good enough really, I think, because I don't want any mishaps with the locomotive and heavy loads and things. So I decided I had to keep going. So I ripped out that junction as well and reinstalled it further up, which sounds simple, but it took time and was quite tedious. But it did reduce the clunkiness by a few degrees, and that makes all the difference. If only I'd done that in the beginning. Oh well. Meanwhile, at the top of the field is another curve and more junctions. But they all work fine. Not too tight, no snags, everything's good. The problem is the hill that they are on. It's the highest point in the railway, and that's the place where the locomotive struggled to get up to with Dennis and Ashley on board. If the locomotive can't pull wheelbarrows up to this point, then this whole project will be a failure. Well, that part of it will be a failure. I could perhaps build a bigger locomotive or hope that the donkey can do the job, but we're not at that point yet. I'm still hoping that the little locomotive can do it. So, foolishly, I decided to take some of the hill away. Foolish because no one was around to help. And really this is not a one-person job. Each section is uncomfortably heavy and very awkward. and foolish because I can only take about 9 inches off the top anyway before I hit very hard subsoil and bedrock. So it's a lot of work for very little gain. But you see, my experience of the track down by the barn, where we reduced the rise from 1 in 7 to 1 in 8, convinced me that even that small reduction in steepness can make the difference between, being able to drive up it or not. Mind you, it's more normal to aim for 1 in 40, apparently, as the maximum steepness, so I'm still being very ambitious. I removed about 160 feet of track. So I could fill in some hollows, and in theory I can keep the gradient smooth. 160 feet in an effort to remove 9 inches off the top. I know, it's crazy. Taking the track away was of course the easy bit, and all the time I was thinking, is this a complete waste of time, Tim? Is this a huge effort for nothing? Especially as the junctions were all set up and working, would they ever work again? But you see, Sandra had the builders in, Tim the builder and co, repairing her horse arena, and I was able to use their digger for a day while they weren't looking. It's a little bigger than the last one I used, and it was very tight down between the bank and the trees. Now don't worry, I'm not going to show you all the diggering that went on. Apart from anything, it was too hot and there was too much to do to keep moving the camera. So I will jump ahead, boing, and show you the after scene. Yeah, but there's not a lot to see really, is there? A slightly less slopey slope. And will it be enough? I just don't know. I just don't know. If only I'd done that digging in the first place, because after that the real work began, trying to lay all those track sections back down again. Jiggling and shuffling and walking up and down and pushing and pulling and levering and wedging. It took 2 days to reinstate the tracks and connect everything up again. Well, not everything. I left out the rails that run up from the tunnel to the kiln. They will have to wait.
Oh yeah.
And then Ashley and Sandra Kay turned up, and it was nice to see them. Better late than never.
Whoa! Sandra stopped it. A human brake.
And we were able to pack the sleepers wherever they needed some new earth from all the diggering. So we are getting there, but suddenly it's time to prepare for the garlic harvest. How did that happen? It just comes around so quickly. So I can't finish the railway to the muck heap just yet. So I can't test how many wheelbarrows can be pulled up the new slope. So I don't know yet whether all this track modification was a waste of time or not. Sandra and Turnip got up it all right from this end, but they're just not heavy enough to count. In the meantime, the weather's broken and we're back to cool rain. Lots of it.
I can't film at the same time.
But just before that happened, we took the horses to the sea and it was lovely. We were very lucky.